Only verdict delivered today because Sepp Blatter came out and explained just how the European playoffs are going to work when it comes to World Cup qualification. Remember, the top 8 teams of the second-place finishers will go into the hat. Let's have a look at how it's going to break down now for those playoffs, according to Sepp Blatter. And there's going to be 2 different pots. If this happened today, and if these were the second-place finishers, they are going to be seeded, Tommy. It means Ireland will be in pot 2 with Sweden, Bosnia and Slovenia. It'll be Russia, Croatia, France and Greece who are the top seeds. Yeah, well, you see, Adrian, I have a problem with you and Sepp Blatter because it's ifs. You know, my mother always said, if ifs and ands made pots and pans, there'd be no need for tinkers. And I don't mind if they're going to do this, but tell me how you're going to do it now. Don't wait until you see who's in trouble and see which teams you would like to have in South Africa at the World Cup finals. Have it an open draw. What's wrong with an open draw? I mean, when you were seeding the groups, you didn't seed them based on FIFA's top whatever it is. You didn't. You based them. You based them on. That is the question. What is it?
That's what I'm saying. Who knows how they're seeding these teams? They're seeding it. They're seeding it to suit.
They tell you how they do it, Tom.
They don't tell you how to do it.
FIFA World Rankings is what is the.
And you know, if I look at this list, Russia, Croatia, France, and Greece. Okay, maybe Greece I could have a problem with. Okay. You probably have a problem with because Ireland's not one of them, as they shouldn't be, by the way, because they haven't done something.
Right.
But they've done it. They've done it in the past. Last World Cup.
I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing. Ireland is battling the world champions for their group.
So what?
So don't tell me that they're not a good team. Don't tell me they're not a good team. They are better than the teams that are ranked above them. And I'm not taking Ireland's place.
I don't know why.
Yeah,
World rankings, I look now. Russia number 6, Croatia number 9, France number 10.
I have a question for you. Yes. I've heard you many times on this program
I know where you're going with this.
World rankings don't mean anything. So why do they mean something now when it comes to seeding teams?
Okay, let me clarify. Okay. I'm still with you. I'm not going to back away. But they have changed those rankings. In the past, they were really, really bad. They included, you know, some friendly matches, and obviously you can't compare Oceania to, you know, to Europe and all that. But we're talking just about Europe right now, and you get what you get. I'm not saying Ireland are a bad team, but by these rankings, Greece, former European champion, but although I don't.
Do you know that that's the way they're going to do it?
No,
that's the problem.
But when we,
that's the problem.
But they did say it. It's going to be world rankings. So if that's the case, I can agree with that.
All right, it's a spirited debate, and it's not going to end there either. After the break, Tommy's top 5 strikers produced a lot of correspondence from our viewers because of one notable admission. Now then, on the last edition of ESPN SoccerNet Press Pass, we introduced a new concept, Tommy's top 5 strikers in the world. This is what Tommy came up with. Eto'o at number 1, Rooney, Ibrahimovic, David Villa and Didier Drogba, and that generated an avalanche of responses. This is just one such example. Chris Lennon saying, "I'm astounded as how you managed to leave out Mr. Torres." I think that might have been from Aaron Lennon in North London. Where was I in your top 5 list? But Sam from Melbourne also is complaining about the absence of Torres, and Zlatan getting a mention. Where is Zlatan in big games? How can't you fit Fernando Torres? Come on, son. He finishes up with. I like that, Sam. And then Cameron from Auckland. I simply can't see how Fernando Torres doesn't make your top 5 striker list. Each to their own opinion. I'm sure Janusz will agree with me. There are very few better than Torres, if any. Well, Janusz, very few better than Torres, if any. But Tommy obviously has his reasons for leaving Fernando Torres out of his top 5.
I can't think of any. I agree with all the viewers out there.
Oh, well, all the viewers are right. I mean, the big game was yesterday against Fiorentina. Did Torres show up? I don't know. I didn't see him on the score sheet. I mean, I see him on the score sheet against Burnley, and I see him on the score sheet against Hull. I don't see him on the score sheet against Spurs and Fiorentina and teams that he should be on the score sheet for. He's a great striker. There's no question. He's a great striker.
I also didn't see Samuel Eto'o on the score sheet now, not just in the last game against Rubin Kazan, but everybody else.
Janusz, you're telling me that Eto'o is not as good as Torres?
Give us your top 5, Janusz. Come on, top 5 strikers.
Where do I start? You know, I hate to admit it, but Cristiano Ronaldo, clearly for me, obviously, seamless transition to La Liga. 5 goals in the league, 4 in the Champions League. Why not give it to the kid? Fernando Torres, I would have had him first, but I just couldn't because of all the output that Cristiano Ronaldo gave. Wayne Rooney, Tommy, you'll be happy to know that I do like him. You know, finally a striker right now. David Villa, well, guess what? Nobody's talking about him, but he just continues to score. third year in and year out.
I had him in my top 5. What do you mean nobody's talking about?
Okay.
He was in my top 5.
And by the way, Cristiano Ronaldo, they're maybe not pure strikers, but Leo Messi, I would have him higher, but I didn't want to argue with you.
Well,
he's still one of the best.
I'm sorry, but I had different set of rules. I was told I could only pick strikers. I didn't know that I could pick midfielders.
I've asked.
Why not? No.
That's a whole different debate whether Leo Messi is actually a striker.
There you go.
You know, we actually received a lot of other top 5 strikers in the world from you out there. So we thank you for those. I thought we'd actually have a look at some of them as well. This is from Josh in Melbourne. Torres, Ibrahimovic, Drogba, Villa, and Sergio Aguero. I like it, Josh. I like it. What about this? Bilal from Melbourne. Torres, Drogba, Rooney, Eto'o, and Ibrahimovic. Hard to argue with that, isn't it? Lots of top 5 strikers. Chris, the first African contribution from Kenya. Torres, Villa, Drogba, Ibrahimovic, and Rooney. And let's give you one more. Eto'o, Ibrahimovic, Torres, Drogba, and Adebayor. That from Daniel in Brisbane, Australia.
Well, I mean, you could make a case. You could make a case, but how can you leave Rooney out of the top 5? I mean, okay, Aguero's a great striker. There are about 10 really good strikers in the world, if you want to call them strikers, that you could put in there. But if you're going to pin your hopes to a mass, they're the 5 I'm going with, and I still think they're as good as what anybody has sent into us. And if you have more out there, send them in, because we love to see them.
I had a hard time. This is Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Obviously, I mean, if you look at Samuel Eto'o and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who's doing better on that trait, if you want to call that? I think Zlatan Ibrahimovic comes up huge and is doing much better than Samuel Eto'o, I think. And Didier Drogba, it's hard too. I mean, Messi for me again.
Eto'o has won several games for Inter. That's what he's there for.
2-3 goals. I see Zlatan Ibrahimovic 5 or 6.
And there's a certain $45 million difference between the two, or pounds, or whatever
it is. Exactly.
Sure. I mean, Samuel Eto'o is going to continue scoring goals, I'm sure, but I think Zlatan Ibrahimovic fits perfectly into that Barcelona scheme. But yeah, fair play. There's probably 6 or 7 that you could mention. Aguero, not so sure.
No Robbie Keane in your list, for now. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, no, Robbie Keane. No, Robbie Keane. No, Robbie Keane.
If you want to send us anything, including your top 5 strikers, maybe top 5 defenders in the world, ESPNsoccernet.com is the place to go. You can look for your press pass link, all sorts of juicy discussions there, and chance to fire questions off as well to our pundits here in the studio. We'll step away, and when we come back, some Champions League casualties. Who might be missing this weekend, and did we miss when picking our top 10 goals last week? Some viewer mail suggests we did. We put together top 10 goals of the week that generated some controversy this past week. Some sampling of email that we got. I'm surprised at your top 10 goals. You didn't pick Steven Gerrard's goal last weekend. He's talking about Gerrard's goal against Hull City. Gerrard's goal was actually better than most of the goals you guys picked. Well, Fred from like that. And Thomas also helps us out in regards to the goals of the week. Have a look at Carlos Hernandez's strike, the man from Costa Rica, playing for the Melbourne Victory. Tommy, I know you saw this goal.
Yeah,
and I know you were impressed.
Ernie Merrick told me, look at Tommy, this is the best goal of the week. This should be on the top 10. Tommy, if you had to be in the panel, he said, you would certainly pick it as one of the top 10. I wasn't. I bear no responsibility for those top 10, because I would have had my own top 10, and I would not have the 10 that you guys had.
There's a simple explanation for that. We just didn't see that goal before.
Well, there you go. That's the point about it. But
Carlos Hernandez. Well, in case you need your memory refreshed, let's have a little look at the 10 goals we did pick and see if Gerard Hernandez will get in there in front. This is Falcao for Porto.
That was better than Hernandez's goal. Give me a break.
See, I could have done without this goal.
That was Rolfes
I mean,
against...
He's been scoring a lot of goals, Adrian, but I could have... This is perfect. Not only the setup for Fabregas, but Van Persie as well.
Then Raphael for Hertha Berlin against Hoffenheim. Lots of great goals in Germany last week. Kaká surely have to leave him in the top 10.
Yeah, you have to leave him there. I wouldn't have any objection, and this is a real screamer. Whoa! What a howitzer shot.
Seen Abdesati. He's got to be in there just because of his name.
I would put him in there because I couldn't pronounce his name.
That was Freiburg against Borussia Mönchengladbach. And then, how about this? Pablo Hernandez for Valencia against Atletico.
Listen, I'm waiting on Paddy McCourt. Here comes Paddy. Let's time him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
He's just winning.
It took him 14 seconds to run 25 yards.
And what about this?
Forget about this.
Freddie Montero for Seattle against the New England Revolution.
This one I'm ruling out because of all of those lines on the field. The goalkeeper was confused. The goalkeeper didn't know where the ball was coming from.
So do we have Do we have to introduce that as a ruling in future in the top 10 goals?
I'm going to bail all you guys out. I'm going to put in Gerrard's goal and I'm going to put in Hernandez's goal. So you're all bailed out. Paddy stays.
Paddy McCord, if you had it your way, would have been number one every week.
Why not?
All right, no goals on lines with American football involved on the pitch. Okay, that's the rule. That's it. Press Pass will be back tomorrow with a weekend preview and some special guests from a special location. Bye.